Howdy, this is the Views from the Schott podcast. I'm your host, your one and only host, Tim Miller, and today it is Wednesday, October 29th, 2025, and I wish you a very, very, very happy National Hermit Day. Well, today's show, it's been a long time coming. We get into our predictions and superlatives for 2025 college basketball, for Ohio State in particular, but for the nation as a whole. So on today's show, we will cover Ohio State's schedule as if there's any skill in predicting it. We will go game by game and try to predict Ohio State's record for this upcoming season. We will also predict superlatives for Ohio State, like crowd pleaser, best rim protector, best offensive player, best leader, things like that, and many others as well. I've got 3 bold predictions for you. Then I will give you a winner of the Big Ten, my first team, all Big Ten projections, any awards Ohio State players will get, and then we'll go into national awards with All-Americans, and then the Final Four and a championship pick as well. So if you are all in on Ohio State and you find it a little bit more difficult to pay attention to the college basketball landscape as a whole, or if you're all in on college basketball, and it's not hard at all, and this is one podcast of many you listen to on college basketball, either way, this should be a great show for you to feel informed, to enjoy the fact that college basketball is just days away, and also hear some guy give some guesses on things that are just impossible to predict, but we give it a try anyway. Look, you guys have crushed it on YouTube. I'm not going to say it again. Other than that, we are very, very close. What if you were the 197th subscriber on YouTube? What if? What would life look like if you were the 200th subscriber on YouTube? I made it the goal, and apparently this goal was perfectly set because we're almost there. Almost at 200 subscribers on YouTube as the season nears. That was where I wanted to be. You guys have crushed it. So please, just a couple more. Take someone's phone, maybe log on to their laptop, get on the YouTube and subscribe for mom or dad. I don't know. Whatever it takes at this point, let's get there. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Seriously, I mean it. I need you to do it. Please do it. Drop a 5-star review as well. Those 5-star reviews have dwindled a little bit, and we can't let the Nut House win. So you got to help me out there too, I guess. I'm sorry for begging. It's too much, but we are here for other things, not just begging. We're here to talk college basketball. So let's do that. Thanks for being here today. This is a show that as I prepare notes, I get so very excited for. I've told you I've told you during the show multiple times that college basketball is it's my homemade mac and cheese. It's my chicken noodle soup. It's my comfort sport. Okay. So that said, getting to do a show like this where we just predict my comfort sport, it's fun, man. It's fun. All right. So let's get into the schedule for the Ohio State University men's basketball team. Like I said, there's no skill in this. I went back last year, and although my record projection was pretty close, I had them winning 21 games. I could have had them winning 5 or 29. So I feel like I was pretty close. Okay. Although I was pretty close, most of the games were just off. Like, if they won a game, I would pick them to lose. If they lose a game, I pick them to win. I went back and looked. It was pretty bad. I did pick the Northwestern upset. So that said, I'll probably hit on one surprise game here this year. And then other than that, just tell me to shut up. All right. Season tips off on Monday, November 3rd, 6:30 against IU Indy. Make sure you've got Big Ten Plus. You're not going to be able to open up YouTube TV or what other service you use to watch your TV and find this game. It's Big Ten Plus. So just mental note, maybe go with a Hey Siri. She didn't hear me, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's right here. And at some point, we need to talk about the downfall of Siri. Like, remember 2012? This was a huge deal. Now it just sucks. Always. Anytime you use it, it sucks. Maybe it's because we got used to it. Maybe it's because of ChatGPT, but it's bad. Just make sure you remind yourself that this game is Big Ten Plus. Okay. IU Indies, 355th in Ken Palm, 361st in Bartoric. Those numbers are not good. They're not expected to be an NCAA tournament team this year or anything close to that. They were destroyed in the preseason against Southern Indiana in a secret scrimmage, 116-83. This is a first-year head coach at IU Indy. It's a first-time head coach in Division I. He's coming from Division II West Liberty. That said, I think Ohio State wins this game. I think they win it comfortably. And I think Ohio State scores over 100 points in that one. I don't know. Let's check together while we're here. I'm gonna assume that there's no betting, there's no lines for this yet, but I'll take a look just in case. And as you hear me typing there, that means I need to turn my sound off. I am not seeing anything. Yeah, no, we've got nothing still. So when we get a line, we'll take a look. I've got Ohio State beating IU Indy. Ohio State plays Purdue Fort Wayne after that. Corey Hadnot the second, DeAndre Craig Jr. Those are two players that could give Ohio State trouble and keep the game close for like 15 minutes. Outside of that, I got the Buckeyes winning 2-0. App State, this is a team inside the top 200 in Ken Palm, maybe a little bit more of a test in the first two games. They've been a strong defensive program. I'm not seeing much firepower here. I think you'd be crazy to pick App State over Ohio State. Sorry, Buckeyes 3-0. Notre Dame, that's the first test of the year on Sunday, November 16th at 12:30. That game on FS1 in the Schott. Notre Dame is 77th in Ken Palm, 64th in Bart Torvik. They returned three of their top five scorers, including Marcus Burton, who was at 21 points per game last year. They get a five-star freshman in Jalen Harrelson. This is early in the year. I think this is potentially an offense that can keep pace with Ohio State, especially with Micah Shrewsbury. If there's anything he can do that he's proven in the past, it's coach offense. I'm going to take Ohio State actually to lose this game against Notre Dame. I know I talked in the offseason, the season preview series, talked about how I think there's a chance, like a real chance, Ohio State could go undefeated in the non-conference. So predicting a loss this early obviously would be disappointing for Ohio State, but I've said this before. Did you do it last Sunday or the Sunday before when I told you to do it? Do it this Sunday. Take all of the top 4-5 favorites. Ohio State has 5 power conference games in the non-con. Take those 5 favorites and parlay them all together on Sunday. It's not hitting. Same reason for Ohio State. They may be favored in all these games. I assume against North Carolina, Tar Heels will probably be a slight favorite. Against Virginia, that's a toss-up too. These other games, Ohio State be favored, but to project them to win all of them, I'm not there yet. So I'll take Ohio State to get tripped up early against Notre Dame. That'll put them at 3-1. Against Western Michigan, that's our next game on November 20th. They lose 8 of their top 9 scores, one of which to Minnesota. I'll take the Buckeyes to win. Then they'll play Mount St. Mary's on November 25th. This is where they improved. What would this be? 5-1. All of their top scorers depart after making the NCAA tournament. It was a nice year last year for Mount St. Mary's. They're going to have to do it again this year. I don't think that they can beat Ohio State. Black Friday, the Buckeyes will take on Pitt on ESPN at 7 p.m. Pitt, traditionally excellent offensively. The return, Cameron Corrin. They've got some nice portal additions, including Deshaun Jackson from Iowa State. The front court, I think, is going to be good. I think it's going to be a really, really tight game. Is a revenge factor there? No, I don't think so, really. But I do think Ohio State wins this game over Pitt, and at Pitt should be a quad 2 win for the Buckeyes, maybe even quad 1, depending on what Pitt does in the air. So I think the Buckeyes close out November with a win. You're done with the first month of the year with 1 loss. Into December. On the 6th, they'll take on Northwestern. I don't think this is a pushover team whatsoever. You've got Nick Martinelli back. He's a preseason all Big Ten first team player, top 100 recruit in the nation, and Trey Singleton is also on the team. This team's really, really young, and it's going to be early. So I got Ohio State going to Northwestern and picking up a win. Then on the 9th of December, Ohio State will host Illinois on Peacock. This team is stacked. If I were betting on a team to win the conference, I'd take Illinois just because I can get more in the return than I can with Purdue. And because if I take Illinois, I can get away with placing a bet on 1 or 2 other teams and still staying profitable. So I'll take Illinois to win the Big Ten. I'm not going to put my actual money on it because I don't think there's any skill in that. And I mean, why are we spending money and letting the books invest it for 5 months before we may or may not get a return and probably won't? So I'm not into that. But if you are, I'd like Illinois. So, again, I think Illinois is going to be very good. They're number 6 in Ken Palm, number 8 in Bart Torvik. They've got a bunch of great players with difficult names to announce. I'm not going to try it. I've got Ohio State losing this one against Illinois, so they fall to 1-1 in conference play. Then against West Virginia on Saturday, December 13th. There's so much turnover. Brand new head coach, bringing a couple players from North Texas, including the American Athletic Conference Sixth Man of the Year last year, as well as Trayson Eaglestaff from North Carolina. They're voted to finish 11th in the Big 12. I think this team is better than that. I think that they can sneak into the NCAA tournament. In this one, however, I've still got Ohio State winning this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if West Virginia's good, and I wouldn't be surprised if West Virginia won this game. All right, North Carolina. I've been famously low on them in the CBS Sports Classic. Ohio State will take on the Tar Heels on December 20th, 3 o'clock on CBS. Again, I've been famously low on them. North Carolina's been all over the map with Hubert Davis. They make a title run, and then we don't really know what they are after that. Caleb Wilson should be one of the best freshmen in the ACC this year. You pick up Jaron Stevenson, Kyan Evans. Those are great pickups. This feels like a bunch of B and B plus players. I don't see a Bruce Thornton-esque player on this roster. I think Bruce specifically is the one that you lean on, and he leads you to victory in this game. It should be a fantastic game. You should probably take the over, whatever the line comes out at. I got Ohio State winning this game against North Carolina. Finishing up the non-conference on December 23rd, they get Grambling State. Grambling State returns 0 players. I'll take the Buckeyes. That's it for the non-conference. Then we head into Friday, January 2nd, 8 o'clock at Rutgers on Peacock. It's Big Ten basketball for the remainder, other than that one game against Virginia. Rutgers goes 15-17 last year with 2 top 5 players, 2 top 5 NBA draft picks on the roster. I'm not a Rutgers insider. That's an indictment on Steve Peichel from a guy who's an outsider. Enough for me to not believe in them is all that. They're also not rated very highly at all this year. You look at the roster, it's not that impressive. I'll take the Buckeyes to win against Rutgers. On January 5th, 6:30, Ohio State takes on Nebraska on FS1. Nebraska's been pesky. We all remember what happened in the overtime game last year. And if you don't because you went to bed, I don't blame you. They've also got Rink Mass back. We're going to have to support each other through that, hold hands, a little, maybe some side hugs, nothing more than that. It's not that bad, but it was pretty bad 2 years ago with Mast. They can score overall. I think Ohio State's defense gets beat up in this game, and I think Nebraska knocks off Ohio State in the shot. Then Ohio State travels to Oregon. They start their West Coast trip. Jackson Shellstad should be back at this point, I assume. You get Nate Biddle back. Sean Stewart is on the roster now. This is a 25-win team a year ago, playing on its home court, returning a lot. It's a 10 p.m. tip-off. None of those things do I like, so I will take Ohio State to lose this game as well. This will be back-to-back losses for the first time all year for Ohio State. Buckeyes then travel to Washington on Sunday, January 11th. Going back to the well in the portal is Washington, number 8 class, I think, in the country. It didn't work last year. Last year, I think they had number 8 class in the country. Sorry, my notes aren't clear. What can you do? You get Desmond Claude, you get Wesley Yates from USC. There's so many questions on this roster, and I think Ohio State just flat out wins this game. So I'll take the Buckeyes to win, and then they get 6 days off before they host UCLA at home. This is going to be a huge test on a huge stage. You're playing at 1 o'clock at home on a Saturday. UCLA is going to try to rock in knife and scissors and shiv and pummel Ohio State. I think that makes Ohio State relatively uncomfortable. You look at UCLA, the blue chip talent with Donovan Dent. I think he can neutralize whatever Bruce Thornton can bring. I don't see an obvious match of Ohio State wins in this one, and for that reason, I'll take UCLA to win this game. Ohio State then plays Minnesota on Big Ten Network Tuesday, January 20th. New head coach, bunch of transfers, including Kay Tyson, Bobby Durkin, who Ohio State was in on. I still think Minnesota overall is a year away, at least, from competing in the Big Ten. This is a trap game. You've sandwiched this game between UCLA at home with 6 days off and then going to Michigan on that Friday. So this is a trap game. It's a tricky game for Ohio State. I still got the Buckeyes winning. Buckeyes go to Michigan on January 23rd, 8 o'clock tip-off on Fox against the Wolverines. This is the best portal class in the Big Ten. They get a top 20 recruit who Ohio State was in on, and Trey McKinney. Roster insanely stacked with 8 true contributors. Trey Burke is going to get his number retired during this game. Great overall roster. Great coach. I'll take Michigan to win this game against Ohio State. January 26th at 7 o'clock, Ohio State takes on Penn State on FS1. Freddie Delone V, Caden Mingo. Then what? I don't know. Buckeyes win. Saturday, January 31st at 2 o'clock, Ohio State takes on Wisconsin on Fox. Wisconsin, number 20 in Ken Palm, number 30 in Bart Torvik. So seem pretty high. I'm a little lower on them. You do get John Blackwell back, Nolan Winter as well. What will he be this year? We'll find out together. Roster, again, overall, I'm a little lower on it than maybe the consensus. But the Big Ten is hard. You're playing at Wisconsin. It's on a Saturday. Should be a raucous environment, I assume. I'll take Wisconsin to win this game. Ohio State is at Maryland on February 5th to open up play in the second month of the calendar year. 34th in Ken Palm, 42nd in Bart Torvik is Maryland. You got Buzz Williams there now. Pharrell Payne, Solomon Washington coming with Buzz Williams. It's a solid transfer class. I'm higher on them than the analytics. This is going to be a tough game, especially given that it's at Maryland. I will take Maryland to win this game. Then Ohio State, I believe on Super Bowl Sunday, gets Michigan at home. I don't think Bruce Thornton lets this team get swept. You're back at home where you will have one of your one to two, at least your one awesome environment that you get for the year allotted at the Schott. I'll take Ohio State to win. I don't think Bruce lets Ohio State lose this game. Wednesday, February 11th at 6:30, it's Ohio State versus USC. That game on Big Ten Network. Chad Baker-Mazara, Ezra Asor, Rodney Rice, Jacob Kofi, all projected as difference makers. You got the number 2 Big Ten portal class. You got Jerry Easter, who looked really, really strong in the exhibition that USC had. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, and I think USC's offense can keep pace. I will take the Trojans to win this game. On Valentine's Day, Ohio State takes on Virginia. This is, in my opinion, the toughest game on the non-conference schedule. You look at the style of play, it's not going to be what you've come to expect from Virginia. They're going to play fast. They're going to run up and down the floor. This does actually complement Jake Diebler's style of play. I think you've got that along with a strong portal class. You're going to have plenty of time to get well acquainted at this point if you're Virginia. So that said, and because I think this is probably the toughest non-conference game that they've got, I think Ohio State loses this game, and this would now be a 1-4 stretch for Ohio State. Over the past 5, I've got them losing 4 of 5. It's a tough stretch. You got Virginia, you got Michigan in there. That's the only win I have them picking up. USC, Maryland, Wisconsin. It's going to be a tough stretch for Ohio State. I've got them going 1-4. Out of that, however, I've got to win. Ohio State takes on Wisconsin. I've already talked about them once. If I'm not that high on their roster, I can't pick Wisconsin to sweep Ohio State. That said, I've got the Buckeyes picking up a win against the Badgers. Then they go to Michigan State. This is Sunday, February 22nd at 1 o'clock, I assume on CBS. Michigan State won 30 games last year. They return a lot. 2 freshmen who project to produce, if not this year, at some point for Michigan State. You got Jackson Kohler, Jeremy Fears, Carson Cooper. Everyone's favorite breakout player for like the 19th straight season, Cohen Carr, is still there at Michigan State. Tom Izzo, exceptional. It's a tough place to win there at the Breslin Center. I will take Ohio State to lose against Michigan State. Wednesday, February 25th at Iowa. Iowa, new head coach. You got Bennett Sturts there coming in. They're going to play really slow, and they're going to prioritize forcing turnovers. I expect this to be another tough game for Ohio State, a rock fight. I just think Ohio State has a better mix of players overall on their roster, so I'll take the Buckeyes to win. Let's get to March, shall we? Ohio State plays Purdue. They play Purdue on CBS, 1:30. Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman-Wren, Antoine West Jr. comes in as a freshman. Over Mayer, apparently going to be really good. Oscar Clough, a great transfer player. That's great. I don't care. Jake Diebler has never lost to Purdue. He gets them at home. Purdue's going to have to take a loss at some point, and a couple of them, in the regular season, regardless of them being favored to be in the Big Ten, until Jake Diebler loses to Purdue, I'm picking Ohio State to beat Purdue. Give me the Buckeyes over Purdue here in March. Ohio State's going to sweep Penn State. That's the next game for the Buckeyes. I've got to win there. They close out the season against Indiana. They've got real losses. They've got real additions. Almost feels like a wash roster-wise. I do have Ohio State losing this game. However, they win 2 of 3 in March, where Diepler said they need to play their best basketball. I'm not going to act like I can predict what happens in the Big Ten tournament, but as far as the regular season goes, I've got Ohio State finishing 19-12 and 10-10 in the Big Ten. That gets you, depending on the year in the Big Ten, somewhere around a 6, 7, 8, 9 seed, depending on the other teams in the Big Ten. In the Big Ten tournament, you're easily, comfortably in the NCAA tournament. And pending any kind of Big Ten tournament results, Ohio State looking at probably a 6 to an 8 seed likely in the NCAA tournament. I just ran that on Bart Torvik. That's what it says. So I'm good with it. 19-12, 10-10 in the Big Ten. Look, winning 20 games is going to be harder and harder. If you're a really good team, you're going to do it. The top 3, 4, 5 teams in a conference like the Big Ten probably going to win 20 games, but it's tougher to get there because the Big Ten is just better because you add all these really good teams. So all in all, I think that if you fast forward to March and you as a fan or you talk to someone inside the program and you ask them 19-12, 10-10 in the Big Ten, what do you think about that? They'd probably say, well, we'll take that. We're going to the NCAA tournament. That's good. So that's my projection for Ohio State's schedule. 19-12, 10-10 Big Ten. Would you be happy with that? What would your thoughts be? Maybe comment on YouTube. By the way, did I remind anyone? Subscribe on YouTube, like the video. I know I reminded you. Don't worry. All right, let's get into superlatives now. We're cranking through these, okay? We got to crank. It's time. Step up. We all got to do our part, okay? Superlatives for Ohio State. The first one I'm gonna pick is best overall. Who's gonna be the best player on the team this year? Well, if it's anything other than Bruce Thornton, I think that we've had a bad season at Ohio State. Last year, he led the team in RAMPM. That's regularized adjusted plus minus, which is a measure of on-court play, disregarding the box score. That comes from College Basketball Analytics. He led the team. He was number 1. If you focus on the box score, he led the team in scoring, led the team in assists, also led the team in three-point percentage. He had the least amount of personal fouls per game among qualified players. I'll take Bruce Thornton to be the best player on the team this year. Shocker. Best offensive player. You can get away with John Mobley Jr. here. You might even be able to say Christoph Tilley. I'm just sticking with Bruce Thornton. I have more trust in him, so I will project him as the best offensive player this season. Best defensive player. This is a tough one. I mean, you looked up and down this roster. I don't think you can say Bruce Thornton. John Mobley Jr. could be it. He truly could. Devin Royal defending on the wing. Christoph Tilley, maybe. Brandon Knoll, probably not. So I got to look to the bench, and I got to look to Gabe Cupps. You look back at his stats last year, pretty much everything was bad, other than steal rate and steals per 40 minutes. He didn't foul a lot. He didn't get a lot of minutes to foul, but he didn't foul a lot. I've continued to reinforce all offseason that Ohio State really likes what Gabe Cupps has brought. And just so you know, I hit on the one last year. I said Micah Parrish will be your best defender. He was the best defender. I've got Gabe Cupps this year. Best shooter on the team. Look, technically, it was Bruce Thornton last year. He was the best three-point shooter on the team. This year, I'm taking John Mobley Jr. Statistically, I think he can finish better than Bruce Thornton. He needs to improve as a pull-up shooter inside. But all in all, I will take John Mobley Jr. to be the best shooter on the team this year. Bruce Thornton deserves some consideration. Outside of that, you probably don't have anyone you're really considering. Maybe Matthew Grudicek. Maybe. Best finisher on the team, again, I'm taking Bruce Thornton. I mean, Bruce Thornton is just up and down this list just like he was last year. That's who he is, though. He's a complete point guard for Ohio State who deserves more love nationally. He had a down year last year a bit, making just 60% of shots at the rim last year. He was still excellent in the paint. I'm not sure you see anyone get to the rim on the drive and make shots as much as he will this year, so I'll take Bruce Thornton. Who's the best passer on the team? Turns out it's not close. It's Bruce Thornton. He had by far the best assist rate on the team last year, 97 percentile in assist rate last season in college basketball. Give me Bruce Thornton as the best passer on the team. Best rebounder. So this one's interesting. And I'm pretty anti just taking all the chalk picks. I don't even know what the chalk pick would be for the best rebounder on the team. Probably Christoph Tilly. I thought about this. I looked at the numbers. You look at the opportunity for playing time this year. I got to go with Ivan Negevon. Offensive rebounding rate, defensive rebounding rate, they were the best on the team, even though he didn't have enough minutes to qualify last year. Those numbers were still best on the team. He's going to get more minutes this year. He's going to be your backup center indefinitely. And I've got questions about Tilly. I've got questions about Noel. Royal, is he going to be down there getting the chance to get as many rebounds? Amari Bynum, I'll take Negevon. And I kind of like it. I like it. It feels good. Best role player, I think that's going to be Amari Bynum. He's going to be a future NBA player. He will get instant minutes. I've told you before, kind of around 16, 17, 18, 19 minutes per game, most likely. He could work his way even into a starting role if things go really, really well for him. But right now, I would project him as the best role player for Ohio State. Crowd pleaser. John Mobley Jr. hitting deep threes. Christoph Tilly being able to score at all levels as a 7-footer. Those are great. I mean, heck, you could say Bruce Thornton. I'm taking Amari Bynum. I think Amari, the crowd pleaser. He's a freshman. He's, again, a future NBA player. He's got the athleticism, the size. I think he's going to make some plays that cause fans to get up out of their seats at the shot, if able. And if willing, that's really the bigger problem is if you're willing. I'll take Amari Bynum as a crowd pleaser. Your rim protector this year, I mean, I don't know. I really want to take Ivan Negevon. The 3.5% block rate for Christoph Tilly was pretty good. He's a 7-footer, so you can kind of affect the game more than just by blocking shots. The fouling issues are my concern with Negevon, so I'll take Christoph Tilly as your best rim protector for Ohio State this year. Your playmaker. I went with Bruce Thornton initially, and then I thought about it more. I thought about what I saw from John Mobley Jr. at the open practice. I thought about kind of how I think this season unfolds. I think John Mobley Jr. can play make with the ball in his hands off the dribble for himself, and he also can play make for others, maybe potentially better than Bruce Thornton this year. So I'm going to go with John Mobley Jr. X Factor this year. I don't know how everyone defines X Factor. Everyone talks about X Factor. Who can actually define what the X Factor is? I think everyone has like 10 different definitions for it. For me, it's if this player ends up performing closer to his ceiling than his floor, it makes the biggest overall difference for a team. That said, I think that player for Ohio State is Matthew Grudjicic this season. No one really knows what he can bring. I think you're going to see some growing pains. I think he's going to be a player that can produce for you, but is inconsistent at times. If you can get him closer to his ceiling than his floor, I think that makes a huge difference for Ohio State. He can come off the bench. He can hit some threes. You don't see too much of a drop-off between him and Devin Royal out there. His size, his length, his ability to drive to the rim and score, like all those different types of things. He could be really important for Ohio State this year, so I'll take him as the X factor. The sleeper for Ohio State is tough because if you're listening to the show, like I would have to say Miles Harrow is the sleeper just because he's the only player that's really under the radar with Braylon Nash, I guess. But for the average Big Ten fan or the average national fan, I don't know how many people necessarily are talking about Amari Bynum. It's very easy to say that, oh, he's one of the top freshmen in the Big Ten just because you go look up and down 247 Sports rankings and you see, well, Amari Bynum's like the 9th best freshman in terms of composite rankings, so I'm going to take Bynum. That's, I mean, I don't know. Outside of that, like real reasoning for Amari Bynum are all the different things I've said. This is a player who probably he will come off the bench to start the year. He'll have a chance to start. He'll have a chance by the end of the year to be a well-known name within the Big Ten. So I'll take Amari Bynum. I'll also take Amari Bynum as the most athletic on the team this season. On that end, I don't really know who else you have. Bruce Thornton, Jolly Jr., no. Devin Royal, no. Christoph Tilly, Brandon Knoll, absolutely not. Especially not Brandon Knoll. Most athletic I'll take Amari Bynum. All right. And then the leader for the second straight year doing this, superlatives, it's Bruce Thornton. Those are all the superlatives I have. Do you notice anyone I didn't mention, or at least didn't name anyone? There's a couple of names, but the one you may think of initially is Devin Royal. And I think that's a good thing for Ohio State. The fact that Ohio State is so balanced stylistically and talent-wise this season that you don't need Devin Royal to be the best of anything, and you can still have a really good year. All right, bold predictions, and I would like to take a sip, if you don't mind, real quick. All right. That was nice. Okay. Bold predictions for Ohio State. So I've actually got 3 of them this year. Last year I just had one, and that was that John Mobley Jr. would finish in second in 3-pointers made, single season Ohio State history, right? He did, and it was very easy. And I was a wimp. So I'm going to be more bold this year. Okay. That's my promise to you. So my first bold prediction, Ohio State scores 100 plus points in a game, 5 different games this season. Now, you may think that's not that bold because last year they did it 4 times. That like triple OT game against Nebraska, they score 116 in that marathon equivalent of a basketball game. So they did it 4 times last year. The Nebraska game feels like an outlier, but maybe not because, I mean, you scored 90 points in regulation. I don't know. But before last season, Ohio State hadn't scored 100 points in a game one time since 2019. It's been a long time since Ohio State scored 100 points since before last year. The number doesn't feel right. I'm not going to lie to you. And I want to look it up right now. I won't. I looked it up last night. It still doesn't feel right. But regardless, I'm taking them to score 100 points 5 times this year. That's my first bold prediction. My second bold prediction kind of comes off the back of that. So my second bold prediction, Ohio State finishes number 1 in scoring in the Big Ten for the first time since 2011, and they will be top 10 nationally. Ohio State hasn't been the best scoring team in its own conference since 2011. That's a really, really long time ago. That year, they scored 77 points per game. You score 77 points per game this year, you're going to finish in the bottom half of scoring in the Big Ten, if not even worse than that. So last year, they finished 6th in the Big Ten at 78.8 points per game. You're probably going to have to be around 84-ish points per game to finish first in scoring in the Big Ten this year. Here's why I think this happens. Number 1, their pace is going to be higher. So your overall raw scoring output is going to be higher because you're going to get more shots up. The spacing should be better through roster construction. I think the talent overall is better than we've seen for a while. That's part of why I've got Ohio State scoring 100 plus points 5 times this year. And also why I've got the Buckeyes finishing as the number 1 scoring offense in the Big Ten for the first time since 2011 and top 10 nationally as well. My third bold prediction, John Mobley Jr., man, I can't stop. I can't help myself with John Mobley Jr. I gotta be bold with him. And my bold take this year is that he makes 100 3-pointers. That would put him 4th all time in Ohio State single season history. Okay. He's not touching John Diebler. I don't know if anyone ever will. If someone does, it probably would be John Mobley Jr. But he made 77 last year. That was 7th all time in Ohio State single season history. The same argument that I've made for Ohio State scoring 100 points and for scoring or leading the Big Ten in scoring, it's the same here. Pace is going to be higher. Spacing's better. You got more opportunities for shots for John Mobley Jr. I think he's looked really, really good this offseason. He attempted 200 3-pointers last year. So if you attempt 225, you can get really, really close to 100. He shot a lot last year. I'm not sure how many more you can shoot, but if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be John Mobley Jr. So my third bold take is that he makes 100 3-pointers for Ohio State this season. All right. How about some Big Ten predictions? This is just a swift episode. You got to keep up with me, okay? Like if you're going for a walk, if you're kind of doing another thing while you're listening to the show, you're going to miss some stuff. And if you're okay with that, then I'm okay with it too, but I'm just letting you know, all right? Big Ten winner. Look, I hate being chalky. I hate it. I want you to remember me as a guy who is quirky and unique. I'd like to be remembered that way. For that reason, give me Illinois to win the Big Ten. Or Michigan, but probably Illinois. My pick is Illinois. But if Michigan wins it, I want some partial credit. First team All Big Ten, Braden Smith, duh. Yaxel Lindenborg, duh. Nick Martinelli, I'll take him. I'll take him. I don't think Northwestern's going to be good. I still think he's there just because there's not a lot of talent around him. He's going to score a lot. Donovan Dent from UCLA, also on the first team, and Trey Kaufman-Renn. That means no Bruce Thornton on the first team, all conference. But as far as Ohio State awards, I've got Bruce Thornton second team. I've got John Woolley Jr. second team. Christoph Tilley, third team all conference, and Devin Royal honorable mention. I don't have Amari Bynum on the all freshman team, and I've got no one on the all defensive team in the conference. All right. I tell you what, we're almost done here. We are really almost done. Last year when I did this show, I just took forever. I felt like I was talking for 90 minutes, and I like to talk. I have a podcast. You can probably guess that I don't mind talking. I just wanted a better pace this year, and I'm pleasantly surprised with my performance personally. I hope you are too. All right. What do we got here? Let's do some All-Americans. If you just want to look smart in the group chat and you want to talk about some players you think will be good this year, just take this list, I guess. All-Americans, I've got Braden Smith. He'll do it again. I mean, why wouldn't he? Got Darren Peterson. Have you heard of Darren Peterson? I have. I don't know how we would have known of him, but he plays at Kansas, freshman. I think he's an All-American this year. Donovan Dent from UCLA. That's two Big Ten players already. Out of the three I mentioned, two coming from the Big Ten. I got Donovan Dent as an All-American as well in the first team. Otega Owe from Kentucky. I think his name has staying power. He plays for a team that has staying power. For that reason, I think it'll be pretty easy for him to win this year. And the last player I'll take, just because you kind of gotta go against the grain at some point, I've got Joseph Tugler from Houston. He's Big 12 defensive player of the year last year, 7th best block rate in the nation last year at only 6'8". I don't know if he can contribute enough offensively, especially playing at Houston. We'll find out. I've got him as an All-American. And you know what? I'm not taking Cam Boozer. He's probably here. I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment, so I'm not taking Cam Boozer. All right. Final 4 picks in the national champion. And then we, well, I'm home. You can go home or stay where you're at. Final 4. I've got Houston. I think they could be even better than last year, even with the losses of Juwan Roberts, LJ Cryer. I get all that. I think there's a real chance that they can be better than they were last year. You come off the loss against Florida, a really, really painful loss. Again, with so much roster turnover, I don't know how much that matters, but I've got Houston in the Final 4. All right. Earmuffs, folks. I got Michigan in the Final 4. I think they have an excellent head coach. I think they've got more than a complete enough roster to be really, really good this year. I think their style can move them through the NCAA tournament better than Purdue's style, for example, or Purdue's roster. They beat St. John's in an exhibition. That's a team I really, really like. So I'll take Michigan. Again, earmuffs. I'm sorry. And you know what? When I post this on Twitter, people are going to say, you hate Ohio State. Why would you pick Michigan? Shut it, guy. Just shut it. Louisville is my third Final 4 team. They've got a backcourt of that. It's what dreams are made of. Ryan Conwell, Mikel Brown Jr. coming in as a freshman, Isaac McNeely, Ohio State wanted, Adrian Woolley. They are going to shoot the lights out this year, and Pat Kelsey is a little man that I trust in. So I'll take Louisville. Where's UCLA come from? Like, sometimes people talk about the Freudian slip. I don't think they know what it means. Kind of similar to they don't know what correlation does not equate to causation or whatever that phrase is. I don't know. I don't know why I said UCLA. They're not my fourth Final 4 team. The fourth Final 4 team I have is Arkansas. Look, Darius Acuff is among the best freshmen in the country. You return J.J. Wagner. You return Carter Knox. I need a more under-the-radar pick in terms of like preseason outlook. This is the one for me. Last year, I picked Baylor, Kansas, Duke, and Marquette, I think. Maybe Michigan State was in there. And I had Baylor and Kansas in the national championship game. So we crashed and burned. So don't trust me here, but I try to be at least a little bit different from everyone else. That's what I try to be. Remember me as unique and quirky. All right. In the championship game, oh boy, it's going to get people fired up. Honestly, I'm taking Houston over Michigan. The real reason I'm not taking Michigan to win is because I'm afraid of the backlash I would get as an Ohio State basketball podcast picking their arch rivals to win the national title. So I said, you can get there, and that's fine. Okay? Fighting Danny Wolves. You can go. I'm good with it, but Dusty, you can't win a title. You can't. Houston's going to beat you. So that's my championship prediction. And just like that, 8 pages of notes later, and 40-ish minutes in, I have told you exactly how the 2025-26 college basketball season is going to go. And if I'm wrong, it's not my fault. I'm not the one out there coaching. I'm not playing. How could this be on me? Come on. So those are my picks. Those are my predictions on Friday. I'm gonna take just one day off. Just give me one day. I'll put some notes together for IU Indy on Friday. I'll come up with the show. Ohio State previewing IU Indy. That concludes our 2025 season preview series. We'll get the weekend to rest to watch Ohio State play Penn State in a game that apparently doesn't matter anymore. A little bit of NFL action, yeah, whatever. World Series happens at some point. And then Monday's the main event. Ohio State basketball. We'll be back. And we'll be here to recap that game. We'll be live on YouTube and on Twitter. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure you're subscribed on YouTube as well. I want to get to 200. Don't make me come find some of you and make you, I will pick your finger up and make you subscribe. Don't make me do that, okay? So it's almost the most wonderful time of the year. I can't wait. I know you can't wait either. That's the prediction show. Until next time, I shut up before you shut me off. Thanks for listening today, and go Bucks.